Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's the 17th of August 2025 and the time is, what is the time? 9:34 a.m. So I've had a very long sleep and only punctuated by one pee break, which is amazing because I'm normally up on average 3 to 4 times a night, but when I'm a bad night it can be up as much as 15 to 20 times. When I started getting sick I was up 15 times. That's how I knew my body's preparing me for a protracted illness. By the gods. However, I've woken up, had intense dreams, because I'm a psychedelic dreamer, and very intense and very convoluted, and my brain was firing on all 4 channels, and I got up and I only stopped breathing once per hour. So I slept almost 11 hours, so 11 times. It's not too bad, is it? It's good progress. Very good progress. What will I do when I'm healthy and I no longer stop breathing in my sleep? What will I achieve? I'll be dangerous, people of Earth. I'm joking about being dangerous, but I might have energy and motivation to, and the ability to concentrate to even maybe attempt to write my book. We'll see. I don't dare aspire to any great measure of success because every day is still a struggle, and just breathing is a struggle still. So, but looking out into my garden, there's such beautiful sunshine today. Are we still filming? Yes. Sorry about that. I had it plugged in. We went on a little magic carpet ride. But anyway, it's gorgeous day. Yes, it's okay, little bow. Mama just dropped the phone. Silly Mama dropped the phone. Do you like being filmed? Do you like being filmed? What about you, Clammy? Do you like being filmed? It's the YouTube paparazzi. The paparazzi filming my beautiful boys. He's very excited. Well, we've settled down after yesterday's earthquake, which at 5.2 on the Richter scale is actually an earthquake. Apparently it was 10 kilometres underground, which is quite close too. So that was astonishing. Astonishing, people of Earth. Let's just sit us up again properly. Right. So it's been a very strange year. Cyclones, earthquakes, mammoty mind extruding tempests, firing off and getting a bit angry about things and extruding everywhere like a fucking colander full of acid. But I'm getting better. I'm better. I'm over the grief and the horror of it all, and I'm getting better. So there is that. Right. And we were fortunate that no one was injured in yesterday's earth tremor, but it hit at Kilkivan, somewhere near Gympie, and when they put it on the actual news reports, I don't watch news, but it came up on Instagram and YouTube, and no, not YouTube. It came up on Instagram and Facebook. I think I saw it. Well, my little room here was rattling and rolling, but you know, people that lived in Kilkivan, it was quite scary, quite shaken up. They were at the epicenter, people of Earth. Right, so let us continue on with today's offerings. From my sacred space to your sacred space, wherever you live your best life and wherever you find yourself here on planet Earth and or other interdimensional entities, whatever space and time you're in. There's so much schmutz and dust on my phone, it's driving me a bit cray-cray. Right, here we go. Right, we carry on. Chapter 24. Lorne, you just about shot my dick off. Lorne Campbell on things almost going horribly wrong at a party. Honestly, these men, they're like giant children with guns. They're dangerous because they're giant children. Didn't get enough stability and the good kind of love in their childhoods. So they're in a constant state of acting out. Look, honestly, I feel like everything's out of focus today. It's my glasses now that are annoying me. Let's clean up that world view. Oh, it's a glorious day, boys. It's a day that you birdie boys, if you were tame like Charlie, you could have gone for a walk through the forest. One day we might be able to do that. Yes, when you trust the mum a bit more. Like the mama tea a bit more. What fun we shall have. It's starting to happen. That little bow's warming up to me. And Kermie yesterday, tell the people how when I said we're going in the garden, how you fluttered around everywhere and you flew and you landed on me. He did, he came to me. He's starting to understand when I say we're going in the garden. He gets terribly excited. But he's starting to try to come to me, but I still have to catch him with those dusty mitts, and he still bites down on them quite hard, so I don't trust him yet with his big, sharp, hypodermic needle bloody beak. But he's, I think he likes me. I do. I think he kind of likes me. Right, let's carry on with the story. The May 2-4 long weekend is always a big one for Canadian bikers, as they're expected to have their motorcycles up and running by then. It marks the official start of riding season, just as Sarasota Springs mark the full stride of race season for horse-happy blue bloods in the American South. Let me just fix that. What's my boy doing? What's he doing? Are you eating sunflower seeds? He loves the sunflower seeds. It's like a drug to him. I have to limit them because they're very fattening. Right. Do you want to go to a party with me? Campbell asks Charmaine's friend Evelyn in 1993 before the May 24 weekend. Evelyn balked. Come on, you're going. Evelyn was a petite, pretty blonde with a natural smile who grew up on a farm near the Georgian Bay community of Midland. She ran track and played basketball at school and taught gymnastics at the YWCA. Perhaps her best sport was barrel racing and rodeos, a difficult test of horsemanship in which a rider directs her mount around a cloverleaf pattern of plastic or metal barrels in the fastest possible time. Evelyn was a strong rider. She could ride horses on the farm with no saddle or bridle. Campbell was particularly impressed by how she could get a horse to rear up on command like a movie cowgirl, and expresses his admiration in a way befitting his past. She does wheelies with the horses. Dear goddess. When she was 15, a photographer at the local paper took a shine to her and made her Girl of the Week. She wasn't an eager subject. In the photo, her expression is somewhere between annoyed and threatened, and it appears she's almost being stalked as she wraps herself in a denim jacket and turns away from the prying lens. There's a lot of subtext there that's not actually spoken out loud, but I hear you, brother. I hear you, sister. As an adult, Evelyn was a volunteer for Child Find of Canada and Meals on Wheels, and worked as a shift manager at Mitsubishi Electronics in Midland. She was also a sucker for any kind of stray or mistreated animal, and was rejected as a Humane Society volunteer when she voiced her strong opposition to euthanizing animals, saying she would take strays home with her instead. Campbell took to calling her Evie May, a nickname Valentine's wife Brenda had already coined for her after Ellie Mae Clampett, the animal-loving beauty on the Beverly Hillbillies sitcom. Eventually, Evelyn stopped balking at Campbell's invitation to attend the May 24th party. I wanted him. I was just reeling him in. I had him all the time. I just made him work for it. Campbell packed his guitar and collected Evelyn. They stopped for a beer at one of his old haunts, the biker-friendly Atherley Arms Hotel outside Aurelia. The Arms could have been renamed the Armpit, as it reeked of stale cigarettes and 10-cent draft from generations past. No, I'm not going to share that memory because that person turned savage, so fuck it. I can kill that happy memory. Can just die. Just let it flounder in the depths of my subconscious, because it was all a sick, twisted, evil joke that was played on me, so he can get fucked. Why am I holding on to happy memories of rotten people? I don't know. Just, I suppose, the absolute horror of thinking that I was never loved and I was just played for a fool all my life by various entities, different faces, different names, but same modus operandi. I want to burst into tears when I think about it, but I won't. It's just another repeat pattern, one which will eventually break, hopefully, when I eventually die. But it was on the subject of her saying she wanted him. Someone once said at a public gig, "What do you want, Tanya?" You know what I want, baby. The whole crowd burst out laughing. They thought they were making me look stupid, of course, and I guess they did succeed in that. But I was genuine the whole time, motherfuckers. So there is that. One day I'll meet a wonderful man who doesn't treat me like some kind of fool and will be kind and honouring. One day. Maybe. Who can tell? If earthquakes can happen in Kilkivan, anything can happen. One should never give up hope. There's always some wonderful love story happening for someone, even if it's not happening for me. One must never give up. Anyway, for a short time period, lasted a few years actually, spun me out for, it was a kind of a love story actually. There was a genuine kind of sweetness, and it's not my fault I was lured in and groomed and lied to and deceived. Anyway, Campbell packed his guitar and collected Evelyn. They stopped for a beer at one of his old haunts, the biker-friendly Atherley Arms Hotel, outside Aurelia. It's a pretty name, Aurelia. Maybe I'll go there one day. Find myself a Canadian. It's next door to Alaska. Too cold, too cold, too cold, too cold. Who knows where my true love might live? Could be anywhere in the planet Earth or some other distant galaxy. Because they're coming, people of Earth. And they're coming. Little Bo, are you my little Bo? You gonna come out and play? Kermie's out. Kermie, what you doing, little Kermie boy? You're so handsome. You're so very, very handsome. But you know it, don't you? He's the handsomest rooster in the house. All right. The arms could have been renamed the armpit, as it smelled of stale cigarettes and 10-cent draft from generations past. Gross. There was a stage for strippers who also provided private lap and couch dancers for a fee. Excuse me, I'm just going to take some Ventolin. Very raspy and waspy on it. Right, there we go. I want to be out in the garden, boys. When we finish our story this morning, we'll be out in the sunshine. It's a glorious day. Glorious. Campbell and Evelyn headed far back from the stage area, or Pervert's Row, to enjoy their beer. A stripper's head snapped up when they sat down. She stopped mid-dance to wave at Campbell. Then, when his set was over, she pulled on a see-through housecoat and joined them, her back to Evelyn. It's a bit rude, isn't it? Soon their visitor went back on stage and resumed her show. Oh, I know her from years ago, Campbell told Evelyn. If not for her friendship with Charmaine, Evelyn would likely never have been drawn into Campbell's circle. My earring's not sitting right, that annoys me. It didn't take her long to learn that dating a biker wasn't like going out with a stamp collector or curler or anyone with a more regular passion. Campbell was old school and wore his club colours whenever he rode his Harley. In the winter of 1994, he was with Evelyn, wearing his Satan's Choice vest, at the Highwayman Hotel in Aurelia, when three men clearly felt the need to provoke him rather than just enjoy the hockey game on television. They kept bumping into Evelyn and her chair as if begging for a response. I just had enough of that, Campbell recalls. Said, "What the fuck do you think you're doing? Where there's a lot of people, I always picked out the biggest guy. That's my technique." And also, smart. Mama T does the same. Campbell, not that I brawl with people, but if there's a group of men and they're hounding me, I find out who the alpha male is and I utterly eviscerate him. And then his little henchmen back right off because I've taken out the big guy. That's how it's done, people. That's how it's done with bullies. Campbell didn't wait for an answer. I knocked him off his chair. There's blood all over the place. He's crying. Campbell looked down at the man blubbering on the floor. "Look at you, you baby." Then Campbell turned to the other two men and said, "Do you really want a part of this?" They didn't. Not long after that, the police arrived. The waitress stuck up for Campbell while the bloodied man continued to cry. The police left without pressing charges, and the three men bought Campbell and Evelyn drinks. It's odd, isn't it? Start a fight, get beaten up, and then buy them drinks. I wouldn't be buying a drink for a man who bet me up. I'd be plotting his death. Trust me on that one. My husband hit me only once. Only once, you understand. He knew the consequences if he ever hit me again. I stayed married to that mad cunt for 10.5 years. It's odd, isn't it? Odd. He had 10 more years out of me than he should have had. By the gods. We ran a successful business together, had our 2 little babies, my babies. Well, je ne regrette rien. That was a different life then, an entirely different lifetime. Young and stupid and naive and loving and wanting to believe in the good of people. And all the time I knew better. I'd always known better. I knew better from the time I was 6 years old. So if I've given you a chance, sometimes you may have had multiple chances. Know this, when you finally cross my line, you're out of my life forever. Right. On another excursion, they rode northwest to Thunder Bay. What do you want, Tanya? I want a loving man who's honouring and respectful and peaceful and kind and decent and true. That's what I want. It's what I should have said. But that would have been humiliating to him, wouldn't it? But at that point in time, I hadn't seen his ugly side yet. C'est la vie, babies. On another excursion, they rode northwest to Thunder Bay, where they stopped for an oil change and a visit to the Choice Clubhouse. It should have taken just half a day. They found the clubhouse empty, and when they tried to leave, the door wouldn't open. Campbell yanked it hard, and it still didn't move. I feel like going out today. Be a lovely day to walk along the beach. Might do that. The day's still young. The day's still young and fresh and full of possibilities. Right. They were locked inside and he realised they would need a key to get out. Evelyn contemplated jumping off the balcony, but it was a major fall even for a former gymnast. Had she survived that, she'd still need to scale a steel wall surrounding the premises. They were marooned for a day and a half with nothing to eat but a few chips and other munchies, until Campbell saw a man on the street and yelled at him to go to one of the members' houses and send someone back. How odd that you're locked inside the clubhouse and can't get out. Like, that's just crazy, people of Earth. Larry Valentine had left the Choice in good standing in 1989. Someone just yelled out, "No, it's not. It's to stop people who break in from getting away, so you can get them when you find them trapped there." Yeah, but these were actual members. They should have known where there's a key to get out. Odd. But anyway, I don't like being trapped in spaces. That's why I'm triggered by that, I guess. Larry Valentine had left the Choice in good standing in 1989 and remained a particularly good friend of the club. But a bullet fired in jest by a friend is just as dangerous as one from an enemy, indeed. So Campbell wasn't too happy when Valentine brought a loaded .38 revolver and a .22 semi-automatic pistol to a party at his house in 1994. Evelyn was sitting on Campbell's knee, and Valentine was seated on the other side of the table. All of a sudden, it went off right through the chair. Why would it just go off on its own? It's odd, isn't it? I wouldn't be happy about that. Guns going off on their own. Campbell couldn't help but worry that the shooting wasn't over. It was a semi-automatic. The next shot is ready to go. Larry, do you realise what you did? You just about shot my dick off, Larry. Valentine had the .22 in his hand and the .38 tucked in his belt. Give me the gun, Larry. Valentine wasn't quick to respond, most likely because he wasn't even close to sober. Campbell pressed his point. Larry, you almost shot my dick off. I don't want you to do that again, bro. To a sober man, that would have sounded more than reasonable, but Valentine was nowhere near reasonable at the time. He paused for a few seconds, although it felt much longer to Campbell. Yeah, okay, he said finally. Another time, Campbell and Evelyn were at the home of Valentine and his wife Brenda, along with choice member Doug Hoyle and a striker. The striker remained outside with the wives on the deck as Campbell, Valentine and Hoyle went into the garage to talk. There they sat around a small round table. "Put the pistols down," Campbell ordered. They were all good friends, but it was generally better to discuss things without loaded guns, especially when there was booze around. 3 guns were placed on the table. Campbell emptied them all into the baseboard of the garage, firing almost 24 shots. "Now we're even. We can sit here and talk." The striker had no way of knowing what was going on inside the garage. A striker, I'll remind you, is what we call here in Australia, in Australian motorcycle clubs. I think they're a prospect, or they're aiming to become a prospect. It was also forbidden for a striker to question the actions of senior members. You could only imagine what Campbell was doing to his old friend as he heard the bursts of gunfire. "He was just white," Evelyn recalls. "It was over for 20 minutes and he still hadn't got his colour back. He looked like he wanted to run." Evelyn tried to lighten things up by noting that she had just bought new tyres for her Firebird. "All I could say was, he better not put a hole in those tyres or he's paying for them." The striker didn't laugh. Despite the happiness of his new relationship, Campbell couldn't stop thinking about Kamoe and Sauve still serving their life terms. Sauve was now spending some of his time visiting schools, warning students to stay clear of a life of crime. He paid the $300 a course tuition for psychology and criminology classes. With the $5.10 a day he was paid for working in the store at Frontenac Minimum Security Institution in Kingston. What's going on here, my boy? You're singing some lovely songs. Are you a beautiful boy, Kermie? He says, "You don't have to ask me, Mama T, 'cause you know, and I know that you know, that I'm a beautiful boy, a very beautiful, handsome boy. And little Bo, he's cute as a button too." But, let's not be too aesthetic and hedonistic. It's not all just about beauty. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. He also sold wooden figures he carved in prison. Earning his tuition was tough, and so were the lockdowns that followed stabbings or other disturbances when he was trying to study. In February 1994, there were signs that people on the outside were listening to Kamoe and Sauve. They had been in prison almost 15 years and now had the support of the Association in Defence of the Wrongly Convicted, whose director was Reuben Hurricane Carter, a top contender for the world middleweight boxing crown, who served 19 years in prison in the United States for a triple murder He did not commit. It's outrageous, isn't it? Absolutely outrageous. I really hate injustice. I hate it. I hate it worse than people actually doing crime in the first place. But it's odd, you know, I dreamt this morning about breaking into a downstairs apartment of a man who'd been put in a home with dementia or Alzheimer's. He was only young. I didn't see the man in the dream, but I was told that he was only in his early 40s. He was only young, and Jared and I come down from, either I or he were living in an upstairs apartment, which is weird because neither of us live in, apartment blocks. Jared's in an apartment now, but it's on a ground level. There's no upstairs, downstairs. It's an odd dream. Anyway, Jared and I are sitting around and we decided to break into this downstairs apartment because we knew it was empty. The man had been put in a home. And we were just curious to have a look around at, his possessions. We weren't there to steal. I'm not a thief, not in real life, not in my dream state, but it was kind of funny because we broke into this apartment. I don't know how we got in. And we're there and we're looking around at all his, possessions, his furniture and his crockery and a few ornaments he had, which was unusual because men don't usually go for that kind of stuff. We're looking at everything. It was a very brightly lit apartment, everything very colourful. I know why I dreamt it because I went to the antique centre with Lynn at Paddington the other day, and it's probably my brain's regurgitating all the bright coloured vintage looking imagery of everything that's in the antique centre. So I think it's connected to that. But anyway, we're not long being there and we're walking around this apartment and admiring everything actually. Jared said, I wouldn't mind that. Maybe I'll ask the people if they'll sell it to me, when they come to take custody of all his possessions. And I said, yeah, good idea, we were looking around. And some woman arrives through the front door and walks in and looks at us. What are you doing here, she says, which is a fair comment. We said, we're not here to steal, we're just curious, we're looking around. We promise we're not here to, do anything illegal, create any dramas. Okay then, she said. She was wearing a kind of a navy blue kind of nurse's uniform, which was a bit odd. And so she's sort of looking around with us too. Probably just making sure that we actually were legit, not there to steal. And she's walking around with us, and then another 2 or 3 people arrived, and they again said, what are you all doing here? And we said, we're just looking around. And the nurse said, I think she was a nurse, she said, I found them here, but they're okay, they're not doing anything. And I just thought I'd better hang around, make sure everything's okay. Jared goes back upstairs, leaves me to explain to the people why I was there, and leaves me with that confrontation kind of thing, which was kind of comical in a way. And I said, yeah, we're just looking around and we'll go, we won't cause any bother. And then they all started wandering around looking at everything too. And I said, well, don't steal anything, I said, because the family will claim it. We are the family, they said. Anyway, and then I woke up from that dream, busting to pee because I'd only got up once during the night, which was good. And that was my morning. Bing, bam, boom, baby, back in the room, fresh from that dream. It was a little bit moving between dimensions this morning, was a little bit discombobulating. Sometimes it's a bit like that when I wake up. I'm like neither here nor there. I'm between both worlds, this 3D reality world and the dream state, the astral. Can be a bit take me a few minutes to fully integrate. But the first thing I did was I made a cup of tea and took the towels off the blankets and towels off my bird cages. I greeted my beautiful boys and went and got dressed and came in to read you a story. So I'm cooking on gas this morning, people of Earth. I'm cooking on gas. Right. My lungs are still not right though. Still irritated. But it is what it is. Trying to think what I'm going to eat for breakfast. I've had a couple of pfeffernusse, but I want something more substantial than biscuits. Anyway. Campbell attended an AIDWYC conference in Toronto, where Camus and, Association Defence of the Wrongly Convicted, I get it. Maybe. Where Camus and Sauve's stories were told to assembled lawyers and activists. That night, Campbell shared drinks in his room with Subway Elvis, aka Michael McTaggart, an Elvis impersonator who had once been a fixture of sorts at the Yonge and Bloor subway stop in Toronto. You been good boys? You're being very good boys. You're the mama's good boys. Yes. Subway Elvis was wrongly convicted and jailed for 20 months for armed robbery, and his life had spiraled downwards into substance abuse, not unlike his idol. That night, Subway Elvis helped Campbell drain the hotel minibar. There was room for hope. That'll have cost them a fortune, by the way. Not my monkey, not my circus. There was room for hope in March 1994, when Camus was granted a judicial review aimed at winning an early parole hearing. The review heard from a psychologist who called him a very, very low risk to society. The next month, Como's parole eligibility was cut from 25 to 17 years. He had already served 15 years and 4 months, which made him eligible for full parole in less than 2 years. He was also able to apply immediately for unescorted day passes from Warkworth Institution, east of Peterborough. I'm thinking, I painted these last year. They were from earrings that I lost at Byron Bay. But I'm thinking, not for the first time, I won't sit and face you. It's death. Death doing the last tango. These came from Mexico, the originals, but they had tin corazon, so I made them in sterling silver and copied the painting as best as I could, so mine's a bit more naive art than the originals. And, made it all look very Mexican. I love them. I love them so much I remade them. But anyway, I'm thinking I've painted my cat's socks and my cat Beauregard on the side of a cabinet, little shelves. I'm thinking about painting them like this, a little panel and little earrings, and then I'll wear Beauregard and socks, but then I could also be wearing Penny and Sophie. But I could have little memorial earrings when I'm in the mood to wear them. Could have one with Charlie on. Be quite sweet, wouldn't it? It's a lot of work though. I've got so many earrings. Do you want me to show you the little shells that I'm talking about? I'll show you. I'm not a very good artist. Like Jared says it's quite good, but Jared's a far better artist, painter than I am. He's very talented, very. But anyway, it's not a competition. It's just something I do. Here's my bead curtains. I hung up because they'd been lying on my bed for years doing nothing, and I wasn't able to sell them, so I thought, well, use it or lose it. And here's my tapestry I did about 15 years ago, actually, now. The last tapestry weaving I did. Here's my grimoire I finished off making. I redid all this with glow-in-the-dark resin. So if I put the light on it at night, for a short time it glows in the dark. And here's one of my wands I've made. And I added Kermie's tail feather that he lost just not long after he came into my life. And it's all very lovely, isn't it? Very proud of that. But my friend Peter Sly, Lynn's husband, helped me finish making it into like a more of a book form. And then I added some old leather from a handbag from my mother. Where is it? Can you see it? Oh yeah. And just to hide all the paper that forms the book. How can I show you? There. So, but this is the little, I've probably shown you before. I'm repeating things. I'm getting old, people of Earth. I'm repeating things, but some of you might be new to my channel and haven't seen it before. So I did all that in little, very Polish, you know, Slavic looking folk art. And on this side I've got the big, although I'm not Catholic, I'm not a Christian, I put the real Catholic looking Sacred Heart, but I put the big evil eye in the middle. The only thing I made a mistake was I made the teardrop like a maroon colour, and it doesn't really show up against the red. So I should have made that in like a brighter colour. And here's my boy's socks. My beautiful boy, I miss him. Oh, he was a wonderful cat. It was my foster cat, actually. He's Sally Castle's cat. I took on both her cats, Socks and Sophie. I haven't done a painting of Sophie, but she was beautiful. She was a calico cat. And under here, under him, I did all the little folk art type flowers, which I was very pleased with because I've never done folk art before like that. And I have to show you from in here because there's no way to do it. Here's my Beauregard, another Sacred Heart. Here we go. Little Kermie's doing the Star Wars pew pew pew. I thought only Charlie did that. There you go. So there's my Beauregard, and I added little, can you see it? Try and get it down like that. Little diamantes to his ball, because he had a ball that had all like these little sharp angles on it. He loved that ball. I put some sparkles in his eyes. Anyway, I'm very happy with that painting. It's pretty good. So I thought I might replicate it, put it on a pair of earrings. So, you know, when I say I'm an artist, I'm not lying. I am an artist, just not a very prolific one. This is my daughter's painting, which I very much cherish. And Jared made this for me of Beauregard after his death, although we've got too much glare on the, here he is. He did him because I'm very fond of Viking and Norse mythology and Norse culture. So he did him up as a Viking warrior protecting my front door. And then this was done about 6 months or 8 months before Charlie passed away. He did this beautiful card of Charlie for me. And there's this wonderful gentleman also with a beautiful parrot. And so there you go. And he also made a representation for me of Papa Legba. So, you know, I'm very, very blessed with wonderful, talented friends who make me beautiful artworks. And here's a very old teddy bear. I bought it in 1993 or 1994. It was before my marriage broke down. And I was shopping in, I think it was Target, with a friend of mine from the Jewish community, Regina Burton. And we came upon these teddies and she taught me into buying it. And I was like, Regina Rossa, I need a teddy bear like a hole in the head. I got so many toys. No, it's Elvis. We have to buy it. So she bought one for herself and I bought that one. But why I'm showing it to you is recently, he's gone all manky with age, you know. I need to replace the back of him too. But recently I made him a new pair of pants in white leather. That's why the top doesn't quite match. It's sort of, the leather's whiter than the top. So I need to, like, bit by bit replace it. But it was so hard to sew through the leather that I just did his front of his pants and left him, the rest of him as is. But anyway, did that for shits and giggles because I just wanted to. I want to replace him in real white leather. Well, I might get round to doing the rest of him one day. But it was just so much work that I thought, meh, can't be bothered. Here's a couple of other wands I made some years ago. That's elder wood from my elder tree. And so this is what I do when I'm not reading stories on YouTube and going through various stages of grief over dead shits who weren't worth the time of day. I make wands and made this wonderful staff here some years ago. There's the original earring that was left from the lost Santa Muerte death dance earrings. And last year I had remade in sterling silver, you know, the heart, but I lost one. So lost it again. So it's twice I've lost things. I'm pissed off about that. So I remade it. Here's a comparison. You can see theirs is much more. Mine actually looks a bit more ghoulish, but I couldn't get the perspective right. However, I made and cast the heart, and I set a little stone, little London topaz. So I improved on it with that. So I'm happy with it. Here's my little fairies. Queen Titania of Titania's realm. And Lilith. So they sit there and they guard my couch, and Elvis sits there, and look, it's all very lovely. Here's another painting my daughter did. She's a talented artist too. The funny thing about that painting was at that time I was desperately poor, and someone again from my Jewish community, it was Judith Krantz actually, donated me that blue couch. But at the time Crystal painted this, I didn't have a blue couch. And I didn't have the ginger cat either. But that cat was born about 6 or 8 months later to Penny, and his name was Tristan, and he was a wonderful cat. So when one day I'm sitting on the blue couch, which was indeed a 2-seater couch, and not a very good one, but it was, you know, it was still a big, huge help, you know, so thank you, Judith. And one day I'm sitting on the couch and I look up at the painting, and there I had on my lap, just like in the painting, Tristan on the blue couch. And I rang my daughter up. I went, Crystal, what, Mum? I went, you're bloody psychic. What do you mean? I said, well, that painting you did, it was precognitive. There was the future all laid out. Mama on the couch with the ginger cat. Oh, wow, Mum. I've got this couch that my former husband's nephew gifted me, him and his wife Ruby. So I've still got that couch. It's a good couch. Here's a picture of, it's from one of Crystal's shows, The Merchant of Venice. So, yes. Why is that couch making noises when I didn't touch it? It's a bit odd. Anyway, hope it's not another bloody earthquake. Here's another painting Crystal did of, it's actually a photograph I had of the two of them at South Bank, and she copied it and made a painting of it. She was only about that age when she did that painting. Very talented. So, you know, we come from very talented people, and my children are very talented. My friend Jared's very talented, and, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to take you into the kitchen with me. My throat's so bloody dry. I'm so thirsty all the time since I had this illness. I'm very thirsty. It's odd. So we'll go in the kitchen, people of Earth. And I did this tapestry too before I migrated to Brisbane. So that one's of Island Bay, where I grew up. And again, a bit stylised, naive art. And the other one's of Wellington, the harbour. Let's have a cup of tea, people of Earth, before my throat closes up. I showed you these flowers the other day. They're really lovely though. Let's get that sunshine shining on them and bring up the colour. Aren't they lovely? So, you know, life's pretty good here at Sacred Space. I mean, I have my emotional breakdowns and Mickey Fins on occasion, and I go to war on occasion, but by and large, this is probably the best that life has ever been for me. Free of arseholes, managing my finances better, and all we need to do now is get my health completely turned around, if that's even possible, and I may be able to achieve more things. It'll be quite wonderful. This is my fridge, covered in wonderful artistic little cards and gifts from people. My friend Margaret gave me that postcard of the dentures made from opals. Lightning Ridge. She must have gone there. I always wanted to go to Lightning Ridge. My friend Heather gave me that many, many years ago. It's exhausting being fabulous. And this painting by Picasso always reminds me, we didn't run around bare-breasted like that because we were children, you understand, but always reminds me of my friend Lynn Robertson and I running on the beach. And this is from many, many years ago. Look how long I hold on to things. Crystal was playing in Reservoir Dogs. She was nice guy Eddie. This one Regina gave to me. It's all mouldy now. Should go in the bin. Regina Burton gave that. Regina Rossa. She doesn't watch my videos, I don't think. She gave that to me. Must be nearly bloody 20 years ago. It's Shin, the Hebrew letter Shin, representing Shaddai, one of the names of God. So you see, I do have little treasures, little memories of people, even though I don't see those people very often, and some are no longer friends. I still have these little memories. I'm very sentimental and sweet and loyal. Sometimes I'm loyal just to a fucking memory, which is not all that healthy. Jared gave me that for my birthday one year, I think about, 10 years ago. It's getting a bit mouldy and wrecked. I'm going to have to take them down, replace them, but that was lovely. I loved that. It's always trying to remind me that I am a success and I'm a writer, but I just haven't published anything. I haven't done anything really, and I get very, very distressed and distraught about all my failures, Sometimes they're not my fault, the failures. Sometimes it's just being held back by trauma or fear of success, fear of failure. It's like having constant brick on your head, drowning you all the time. It's probably why my lungs are always a bit fucked, because it's kind of that constant blockage of feeling like you're being drowned. Well, one day we'll shake off that albatross, and Mama T might make something of herself. How do you make something out of yourself when you've got no money and you can't upgrade your life, and all you attract into your life are false lovers and sadistic, vicious men? How can you ever make it in life, people of Earth? I don't know. But it'll happen. One day at a time. Sweet Moses, it will happen. Right. Mama T dreams opulently. That's why my name's Psychedelic Dreamer. It's always been that way, even in childhood. It's probably the only reason I'm alive is sometimes when your reality is so goddamned awful and you can't go on another day. It was my ability to fantasize and dream and keep hope alive that gifted me one more day. One more day. I love those little hummingbird cushions I bought some years ago too. They're fairly old now because I bought those with my will dispute in late 2012. So you see, when I say it's time to upgrade my life, I'm not kidding. Not kidding. Holding on to the past. Well, every day and every way, we live our lives in the present. The past can't be revoked or changed. But the future begins with a good solid foundation, making peace with our past, which in my case is very difficult to do, you understand. Living each day in the present moment, shucking off and sloughing off the fake and evil and false ones, walking clean and clear and beautiful and bright and blessed into a beautiful future that I'm creating every day and every way, people of Earth. Right. Let's continue with the story. He was eligible for full parole in less than 2 years. He was also able to apply immediately for unescorted day. See, my throat's closing up. For unescorted day passes from Warkworth. Help me, boys. How do I pronounce Warkworth? We don't know, Mama T. We're just birdies. Okay. East of Peterborough. Happy boy. You need to come out and play, Bo? Nobody's grinding his beak, which is a sign of contentment. I don't remember Charlie grinding her beak. She used to always give Mama the kisses though. Lots of kisses. Oh, I miss her kisses. My beautiful girl. On rare occasions, she sometimes bite me quite. One time she bit me on the lip. Oh, that hurt. I had a swollen lip for about 3 days. And then she'd come near me with a little face and I'd be like, oh, get away from me. And didn't trust her for quite a while there. She didn't do it again. Like she knew it was naughty, I think. But birds can be a bit unpredictable. That's why I'm taking my time with them. I'm not training them all that much. I'm just letting them get used to me and letting them settle in slowly and fall in love with me organically. It's the only way to fall in love with someone. Naturally, organically. You can't hurry love. You just have to wait, because love don't come easy. And it's a game of give and take, babies. Well, it is with the wild birdie life anyway. I know. Mouthful of chocolate. It's so good though. It's all I want right now. chocolate. Self-soothing my soul. Right, good news arrived for Sauvé as well in May 1994. A jury ruled that he was eligible for an immediate parole hearing after hearing that he had been a model inmate. I hate that term, inmate. It's horrible, isn't it? Inmate. I guess if you're in, you might as well be mates. And for a penny and for a pound. I want to do something wild and exciting today, and I can't. But I wanna. The thought's there. I could actually go to a beach though. I have a car, got enough petrol. Sometimes I'm a bit lazy, you know. I live so isolated. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. But I'm still not 100% all that well, so there is that. But that's an excuse, isn't it? I pushed myself out with Lynn the other day and we went to Paddington, and although we both walked very, very slowly because she's a bit older than I, and we're both tired and I was still struggling for air, so we did the old lady shuffle up and down Paddington. But, you know, it did us the power of good and we really enjoyed ourselves. So you just have to get over that block, shuck off that albatross and just grab life by the, by the testicles, people of Earth, and just go. There's no reason to be trapped in my home like some kind of inmate. It's mindset. I'll have to break that paradigm down too. I wonder if my friend Jared's working today. I don't want to bother him. He went out with me last Sunday. We went to IKEA. Right. A jury ruled that he was eligible for an immediate parole hearing after hearing that he had been a model inmate. Bing, bam, boom, baby, back in the room. He was the first prisoner at Collins Bay to be awarded a degree from Queen's University, earning his BA in psychology in 1987. He was working on a master's degree in criminology at the time of the jury's ruling. You see, as I said, all these men were quite intelligent, clever, talented men. They were just held back by their childhood traumas and the lifestyle they thought they needed to be in to prove some point that they was some kind of a big tough man, and cost them dear. It cost them dear. But they pulled it together, got on with their lives. I can almost see my psychiatrist leaning back, arms folded, smiling. So he wanted me to go back to university some years ago too. And I just said to him, no, I'm not well enough. I won't cope. But you see, that too is a potentiate now that I'm able to breathe in the night, in my sleep state, and be a bit more oxygenated, and if I can sleep through the night without having to get up to pee at least 1 to 3 times, I'll have even more motivation and energy. I could maybe go back to university. But I don't want to due to trauma issues from the way I was really badly treated when I was at University of Victoria, University of Wellington. It was horrifically evil and vile and abusive how they treated me there. So fuck it. No, Brian, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold my line. He'll just roll his eyes and, okay, Tanya. Anyway, one way of following the relationships between bikers is by their tattoos. Another is by murder plots. Just have to think a little bit about that. I do want to get more tattoos. I only ever got this one, just prior to the will dispute being completed, because it's the burning bush that Moses encountered God the first time he encountered him. And God's name, I am that I am. So that was facilitated by a certain outlaw motorcycle organisation that I was hanging out with at that time. I've always wanted more tattoos. It's an unusual thing for a Jewish woman to want, by the way. But I decided not to be caged by ancient biblical injunctions and set my spirit free, and that's how I did it. Not giving up on Judaism completely, because you can't get more Jewish than the burning bush with I am that I am imprinted on your left arm closest to your heart. So it's kind of a cosmic in-joke, because in the Bible, in the Torah, God forbids tattoos. But if you're going to get a tattoo, do it right and still honour the Holy One. It's weird logic, but it works for me. It was layers and layers upon layers of statements in that, because I believe, after reading The Manna Machine back in the early 90s, it made perfect sense. That God that visited at that time was an extraterrestrial, and that's why when it moved, he moved over the face. He said, don't look at my face. Reason being, radiation exposure would have killed Moshe Avinu, Moses our father. That's why he had to shield his face. And that's not to say there isn't a supreme holy source field or creator, out there. But I'm just saying that whole event, I think, was extraterrestrial. Can't prove it. Not going to argue with God about it. But it makes sense why he refers to Elohim and other gods, and that he's a jealous God. Why would you be jealous if you're the one and only Kenobi, the supreme creator, the supreme one? You wouldn't be jealous, because you know that you created everything, including the other gods. So there's a lot to think about there. As you can tell, I've thought about it a lot over the many, many years as a Jew and a student of the occult and student of Judaism too. I've thought about it. And anyway, carry on. Another is by murder plots. In 1995, Campbell and Evelyn rode with Brian Bocage's widow, Valerie, and Valerie's common-law husband, Ollie Nelson, Ollie was the brother of Skinny Nelson, the man who shot Wayne Kelly between the eyes. Wayne Kelly was the biker who had tried to enlist Campbell to murder Bo Cage while in prison. Now Campbell and Evelyn were on good terms with Valerie, even though Campbell had briefly plotted to murder her late spouse. Aside from his short-lived bid to murder the man, Campbell had considered Bo Cage a valued friend. The two couples rode up to a bar near Sault Ste. Marie and ordered a round of drinks. 3 outlaws were there, including Randy Robitaille, who also connected to the group through a murder plot. So who was also connected to the group through a murder plot. Oh, I'm drifting, people of Earth. Come home, Mama T. Can't go floating today, you're reading stories. I know. Robitaille had been charged with trying to shoot Bo Cage outside a strip club in London. They were obviously packing, Campbell says. An outlaw behind Campbell had his leg on a stool and kept pulling back his long coat so they could clearly see the pistol stuffed into his waistband. Ollie and Valerie quickly recognised the outlaws, and Ollie followed Campbell into a washroom. "We've got to leave," Ollie said. "I ain't leaving," Campbell replied. "I just ordered a tray of beer." Leaving in a hurry would have been humiliating and a profound show of weakness. And any display of weakness is a dangerous thing in the biker world. Indeed. I despise weak people. Weak, bullying, insignificant, verminous people, and I'm not even a bikie. I had a very loose affiliation. I wonder why I'm like this, people of Earth. Do you think it was growing up with the people I grew up with? Even my mother turned to me one time about David Davidson. She said, "You know, darling, it's such a shame. He needed a woman like you." "Why, Mum?" "Because he is weak." She'd know. She'd been manipulating him the whole time. I looked at her. That's how I knew. She'd been behind it all. The evil fucking thing. My own mother. Evil it was. I just stared at her. "Yes, darling, he is weak, and he needed a woman like you." "There's no woman like you, my daughter," she said. "No one. That's why men can't handle you, Tanya. You're too strong for them." "I'm not strong, Mummy," I said. "I'm broken and I'm damaged and I'm in a perpetual state of dying." "No, darling," she said. "You're very, very powerful indeed." I just stared at her. My mother was not, free and easy with compliments to the Tanya. There was layers upon layers in that admission alone. But it's how I knew. I went home, I rang up Davidson, I said, "My mother says you're weak," which tells me you are. She's been manipulating you the whole time. And then I hung up on him because he wasn't worth the time of day. best he can do is float around from whatever dimension he resides in now and make his smart-ass little comments and show me that he still thinks of me from wherever the God sent him. But he knows and I know how treacherous and piss weak he really was. What kind of a man does that? What kind of a man would even want to do that? Evil it was. Anyway. The outlaw behind Campbell kept patting his pistol, an annoying habit in any situation. Oh, I missed the sentence that said, aside from that, an early exit really would be a waste of good beer. I guess it would have been. Sit down at the fucking table. Don't stand behind me like that. You know what? I love his courage. That's exactly what I would have said too. Come to kill me. At least have the courtesy to do it face to face, like a real man. 3 strangulations face to face was quite some commitment, you understand? Wow. They all dissembled in front of my eyes. It wasn't me though, was it, that saved me? It was my angel. My angel. Must be a terrifying sight to see. I've never seen it, but by the gods, it was enough to reduce 3 grown men to broken down pieces of shit wreckages, because that's who they really were, and no doubt the surviving ones still are. When David Davidson crumpled on his couch and burst into tears when I said, "Go ahead, finish the job. You might be the one that finally gets lucky." Vaporized right in front of my face, blubbing like a school kid. I just stared at him, picked up my shoes, walked out. Animal it was. "You were an animal, Davidson." "I know," he replies. "I know." When the tray of beer was emptied, Campbell and his group got up and left. Someone just stepped up behind me and put their arms on both shoulders, hands on both my shoulders. He knows. Can't change the past, Davidson. All I can do is build a beautiful future one day with a beautiful man by my side. "I know," he says. "I know." I want to cry when I think about it, but crying won't change anything. Not one little thing. It's just a release, a pressure valve, you understand. Every now and then you just gotta let off a bit of pressure. My entire family mistook my crying for weakness. They didn't know that my crying, instead of killing them, was a stress valve that befitted all of us. Just saying. Anyway, I didn't kill anyone. Not as a child, even though that was desperately needed at that time frame. Not as an adult woman either. I've never killed anyone. All I've done is blunder around by the seat of my pants, falling in love with fucking idiots, which makes me a fucking idiot too. Crisscross, same, like cures like. Shut up, Davidson. But he's right about that. He's right. You draw in the type of person that will trigger you to either become a better person or get lost in a hell loop from which there will be no retrieving you. And I've seen it in my own life many, many times. The ones who are lost in their own filth and their own evil. And there'll be no redemption. None. We'll just be simply doing this dance again in another incarnation and another till they get it right, or until I get it right, or until the gods decree that I don't have to come back to this mortal physical existence ever again. So maybe I'm waiting for, how's that for arrogance? The gods to get me right. Like a wheel within a wheel. The windmills of our mind. Spiraling into infinity. But it's beautiful, and today's a beautiful day. I want to cry. It's such a beautiful day. It truly is. And my little birdies are so quiet listening to me. They're so quiet, my little baby faces. You want to go in the garden? Yes. Kermie loves going in the garden. Bo would love it more if he had a bigger outside cage. But I'm going to fix that problem for you, my love. I'm just going to pay off this one. I'm going to get you another outside cage. Because you're cute and adorable and I love you. And who needs money? What good is money unless it sparks joy, am I right? Although I have to ride a very fine line and be careful. It's always been that way. Right. When the tray of beer was emptied, Campbell and his group got up and left. Valerie was riding her own Harley lowrider with, in memory of Bo, painted on the gas tank, while Evelyn rode on the back of Campbell's Harley. The outlaws had got into a pickup truck, and on a remote stretch of road it pulled ahead of Campbell's party. There were no street lights, and everything around them was darkness, except for their headlights, the truck's tail lights in the distance ahead, and the stars and moon above. If anything happened out here, the only witnesses would be owls and chipmunks. Just ahead of the bikes, gunfire flashed from the back of the pickup. "Did you see that?" Ollie yelled. "Yeah, I see them." Some of Campbell's party had to pee because of the beer. "What do we do if they come shooting?" Ollie asked. "Run," Evelyn offered. "See those trees?" Campbell said. "That's where I'm going." Evelyn recalls, "All I could think of was, if he's hit, I'll drag him off the road. Which side should I drag him to?" She didn't think that she herself might get hit. Campbell pretended to talk on his cell phone, hoping this would signal that reinforcements were on the way and push the outlaws to back off. Hopefully, the men in the truck wouldn't realise There was no cell phone reception in the area. That done, there didn't seem to be a better option than to ride ahead into the darkness. Says Evelyn, you couldn't just stop because then you're a sitting duck, but you don't know if they're waiting down the road. Campbell's party stopped at a motel in the remote town of Wawa. Wawa is nice, so I couldn't help myself. But Wawa, where Campbell slept well while Ollie spent the night at the window. Wow. They aren't going to attack us in a public place, Campbell said. You'd be surprised about that. Shopping centres on the Gold Coast come to mind. Wow, that was stupidity on various levels too. It's also probably a government red flag, if the truth be known. Can't trust any of them. Not one of them. None. That was back in 2012. Not so many years later, look what went down. I didn't know if they were shooting to kill us. They didn't know if we were carrying weapons. I was known to carry a weapon at the time. That day, however, he was carrying just a knife. Every biker has heard the saying that you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, even if it was Campbell's military replica model with 1 shot, 1 kill, engraved on its 7-inch blade. In 1995, the outlaws weren't the only concern. That summer was one of the serious tensions between the Satan's Choice and the Loners, who had a club north of Toronto that included several former members of the Choice. Frank Cisco Lenti, a long-time biker and tow truck operator, was at the core of the tensions. Lenti had left the Loners for Italy in the wake of bitter club infighting. It was also a good time to leave because of a police probe of the underworld after former Satan's Choice member Cecil Kirby decided to turn police agent. Upon his return to Canada, Lenti formed a group called the Diabolos. That's better. Diabolos. Who does that Mexican word with an English accent? The Mama T. But I amended that insanity. Who were quickly absorbed into the Choice. I want to go to Mexico one day. I'll have to learn Spanish, won't I? Diabolos. Si, senor. You have to laugh. This infuriated the Loners, and the summer of 1995 saw a half-dozen bombings directed at biker businesses, including a bar, a shop specialising in motorcycle repairs, and a tattoo parlour, and a rocket launcher attack on the Toronto Choice's Kintyre Avenue clubhouse. While I was laughing, someone just said, go down to Tijuana and order some mole. I'm laughing. What would Tanya in Tijuana with mole do? Eat well. I do love chicken mole. Juan Simo and his wife Marina, she was Was she Croatian or Serbian? I think she was Croatian. She used to cook the most beautiful chicken mole. Mole is a Mexican dish. Mole means sauce. And it's chicken cooked in all these beautiful spices with dark chocolate. Oh my God. It was the most unusual meal I've ever partaken of, but it was delicious. Here's to you, Marina. She didn't like me all that much. I don't know why. Really. But your beautiful mole is well remembered by me. Truth remains the truth, no matter what, no matter who. Anyway, it's not my fault her husband was very romantic, and when I asked for some nice music because I got bored chopping vegetables, as you do if you're the Tanya, she was very hostile and angry and offended. So Juan just quietly went into another room and put on the most romantic Spanish music. He came back and shot me a look, and even I just went a little bit pale because I knew it was a wind-up that was going to get me in trouble. By the gods. Anyway, I just kept chopping the vegetables. And he walks over to Marina and she gives him a big kiss and says, "Thank you, my darling." I thought, someone's going to die tonight. I got to get out of this party. But I didn't. I didn't show weakness. I stayed for the entire fucking party, even though I was on their last nerve or under suffering, or I don't know what that whole party was about. It was fucking weird. Right down to Geraldine Tamal, Rabbi Uri Tamal's wife, turning up, seeing me in full Mexican, my beautiful Mexican dress. I didn't know we were supposed to dress up in Mexican dress. I said, I was told it was fancy dress and to come in my Mexican dress. Were you? We weren't told. Marina was looking at me, seething with rage. I wasn't being a smartass. John Bradley, Juan Simo, someone else. There were 3 men. Who was the third one? Ron. They all told me, come dressed for the party in your Mexican outfit. I didn't know they were taking the piss out of me, did I? So sweet and innocent back in the day. Anyway, I turned up, dressed beautifully in my Mexican dress, and Juan came up to me and said, "You look absolutely beautiful, Tanya." Which I did. "Thank you, Juan," I said. "Thank you." So when Geraldine arrives, sees me dressed in my Mexican dress, kind of sees Marina furious with me, but I wasn't trying to do anything offensive. I was just obeying directions. It's a Mexican party. Why wouldn't you dress Mexican? Didn't see any harm in that, by the gods. Anyway, then she said, "Come with me. I'm going home. I'm going to change." And we went back to there because they lived close to the Simos, And we went back to their place, and she put on the most beautiful Mexican dress, far better quality, lovelier dress than I had, which I wasn't jealous. It wasn't a fucking competition. She's beautiful and slim, Geraldine. Very beautiful woman, very slim, very elegant. But on some level also jealous of me, this short fat hobbit. What were they jealous of actually? Didn't have a man then either. Struggling on my own with my 2 little girls. Oh, they were jealous. Anyway, she put on this beautiful mantilla. She had the full Spanish mantilla and everything. I looked at her, said, "You look absolutely beautiful, Geraldine." We went back to the party, and then Marina was even more angry with me, seething with rage she was. "Oh, you look beautiful, Geraldine." And all the men told her how beautiful she looked, which she did indeed look beautiful. But somehow Wansky, who was really stirring everyone up that day, just looked at me and nodded, as if to say, "They can't compete with you, Tanya." Don't know what that was about. Maybe because I was, quite some years younger than them, so I was still fresh and, white bait. Well, I wasn't. I did not have sex with any members of the Habibi Club. I did not. They were all married and unavailable. And I held my own. When I did finally have sex with someone, I won't mention their name, not worth mentioning, I was very upset about it. But anyway, that's ancient history now. Ancient history. I lost a few years to celibacy after that one because I was so upset about being used in that way. That was an ugliness too. And I remained that way celibate till I ended up meeting Courtney and was with him for 5 years. 2005 to 2010. And I haven't had a proper lover or partner since. So there is that. And I don't care either, because you can only destroy me with your filthy, rancid, treacherous penises so many times. And eventually I draw the line in the sand. You understand. What do you want, Tanya? You know what I want, baby. Peace, joy and delight, and a true love that loves me and has my back, front and sides and treats me like a queen and respects me and is good and kind to me and generous too, and is proud and happy to be my man. That's what I want, motherfucker. Why am I going on about that? Why? Don't know. In the middle of a story, I'm flippity gibbeting all over the place. Maybe Mama T's got ADHD too. The psych says I haven't, but I'm starting to wonder now. Right, that's right. I segued at the word diabolos. Diabolos. And we were in downtown Tijuana eating mole, surrounded by handsome Mexican men. Wouldn't be able to trust them with my punani either. Men and Natanya don't always mix so well, like oil on water or gasoline on lemonade. It's incendiary at times. Incendiary. But Santa Muerto, she knows what she's doing with the Tanya. Doesn't always make sense to me, but someone up there knows what they're doing. What do you say to that, little Kermie boy? Come on, come to the mama. Come on. Come on. You want to go in the garden? He says, hurry up, finish the story, Mama. I want to go in the garden. He's right too. Right, here we go. So, Lenti formed a group called the Diabolos who were quickly absorbed into the choice. This infuriated the loners, and the summer of 1995 saw a half-dozen bombings directed at biker businesses, including a bar, a shop specialising in motorcycle repairs, and a tattoo parlour, and a rocket launcher attack on the Toronto Choice's Kintyre Avenue clubhouse. 3 loners were shot but not seriously injured in Woodbridge, and the home of a Choice member in Kitchener was hit with 2 Molotov cocktails. They're not playing games, are they? They're deadly, deadly serious. Then around 10 in the morning on August 25, Lenty put his key in the ignition of his midnight blue Ford Explorer parked in the laneway of his red brick house. "You singing the song to the people, Kermie? Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. We're all in the mood for a melody. Someone's gonna sing it all right." But not me, because I can't sing. He lived just across the street from a Montessori elementary school and just 100 metres down Kipling Avenue from the Loners Clubhouse. The noise of the explosion that followed startled people for blocks. Lenty survived the attack, but just barely, as parts of his back, legs and buttocks were gone forever. Oh my goddess, that's awful. Imagine not having buttocks. It's not funny, people of Earth. No, it's not funny. God forgive me. Some cops started calling him a half-assed biker, but never to his face. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Power in the antennae. But still, it would be really painful. Like, how would you sit properly? That poor man, it's awful. Having your ass blown off. Campbell and Evelyn were entertaining a visitor from the Loners and his wife in their home when they received a phone call informing him that the Choice was now at war with the Loners. Campbell turned to his guest and announced, "Sorry, Rob, but you've got to go." Evelyn gave the Loner's wife a sweater as it was a cold day, and they left with a smile, not bitterness. I was laughing. I said, "Fuck, sorry, I can't have you here." Campbell had discussed a no-war zone north of Highway 7 in York region with local Loners to keep the violence from getting too personal or close to home. He also instructed Evelyn to take a flashlight and check under her car from now on before starting it up. I was always security-wise about Ev. At that time, any enemy that showed up unannounced at my home would have died where they stood. Knowing Campbell's frame of mind, Evelyn was jolted when a half-dozen Keswick Loners rode up to their home. She didn't know he had reached a deal to patch them over to the Satan's Choice. The initial phase of the patch-over took place in his garage. They all came there with Loners patches that night. Pardon me. And we made them Satan's Choice. Then Campbell turned to their chapter president and said, "You're not president anymore. I am." He remembers there was the party in my garage and it moved over to the clubhouse at Keswick. It continued on for many months with booze in our stomachs and telltale white powder on our noses. There were disputes with other clubs at the time, but nothing that involved bullets, bombs or rocket launchers. Campbell spotted riders wearing a patch for something called the Eagle Riders MC and also Straits Inc. 1995 MC, Lakeshore area, clean and sober. The patch for the latter was done in turquoise and baby blue with a graphic of playing cards and looked like something for a seniors Wednesday night bowling league, not an outlaw bike club. He stopped them and confiscated their offending patches. It wasn't like the 1960s when a sound beating often accompanied a patch pulling. Now it was a polite, if terse, transaction, as if the soft-core bikers should have known better, and Campbell was a bylaw officer merely doing his job. They'd say nothing. Right, that concludes chapter 25, and because I went on little whirligig rides through my mind and memory and processing trauma and grief and horror and my shitty love life and fucking ugly, vicious, treacherous dog people. It is what it is, people of Earth. I'm not going to read 2 chapters today because we're almost 2 hours in. So that's it for today, and I want to get out in the garden with my birdie boys. I want to enjoy sunshine in my hair, and they want to enjoy sunshine in their feathers. And then after that, I'll have them out for a couple of hours, I think. I don't know what the time is now. We started around 9ish, didn't we? So it must be 11ish. Anyway, we'll enjoy some sunshine, and then I might go out for the afternoon somewhere. See how I feel after I've grounded all my emotions and vibrant, ebullient, sparking on all 4 channels energy back into Mother Earth, and see what I feel like doing then. So, blessed be from sacred space at Titania's realm to the ones who love me, or at least like me a little bit, and are watching my YouTube channel and taking it all in and entertained or educated at times. And we're on this journey together. Not sure where the journey will lead to or where it will end, but at the moment, I'm enjoying the journey. And it's a beautiful life, and there's beautiful people out in the world, soul nourishing, kind, honouring people. And so many kisses to you, my beautiful, blessed, bright ones. And we'll focus on a new paradigm where everything is Zen. There we go again with the Everything Zen song. But equilibrium and balance, freedom and joy and delight and peace. Shalom.